Hello, 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 and happy Thursday, community. Welcome to our community live stream. Another week, another Thursday. We're always looking forward to these events as they give us the opportunity to have a dialogue, give us the opportunity to discuss our industry, and of course, also learn about our ecosystem. And this is very important for us. So I want to welcome all of you today. Happy Thursday to all of us that were able to make it to another live community event on YouTube. And looking forward to a great session today. As the title, you can read the title today. It's what's here for us. You know, what's brewing for us in 2024 since the beginning of the year. And if we even go further back, by at the end of 2023 and beginning of this year, a lot of things have happened already. And we've already experienced a lot of changes, a lot of shifts, many new events that happened. Even yesterday, the FOMC with the feds from the US. There's so much that has been said. So I believe today it's important to just maybe go back a step and give everything a better look, you know, and break things down and understand what has happened so far in 2024 and what we can expect throughout the year and beyond. I believe this is very important, as we often tend to listen to social media's news, and they might bring some confusion and uncertainties and doubts. So this session today is just to clarify some points that are actually current events right now on the news, on the medias, on social platforms. And we just want to touch base on them and just bring more clarity, shed more lights to them, and really understand them in basic terms. With that said, of course, as always, we don't want to waste a lot of time. We really want to get right into the subject today. So again, the topic today is what's brewing for crypto in 2024. And we just want to look at everything that has been happening so far, current events, the news, and then just make sense out of everything that has happened so far so that we can have clarity and we can have a peace of mind as we are moving forward, approaching what's coming to us throughout this year and beyond. With that said, as always, let's start with recognizing, acknowledging everyone that is here today that was able to make it. And then, of course, we'll jump right to the subject today. And then after that, of course, we will come full circle and check with you once more to see if you have any feedbacks, any questions, anything you want to get more clarity about. And this is the platform for it. These sessions are great because I get to share my screen with you. I get to, read some articles to back up the subjects, the topics. And these sessions are really informative. So hopefully we can all benefit from this session today. With that said, let me come and acknowledge you that were able to make it today. Brother Demo, hello, Brother Steve. Hope all is well. 2024 has already been a very interesting year so far. Absolutely, a lot has happened this year. We're going to touch on some current events, on some latest news, and then just make sense out of all of it. So you're absolutely right, Brother Demo. Queen Lati here as well. Greetings, Queen Lati, to you. Hello, BULLRUN family. It is a privilege to get prepared again to listen to the great crypto teacher, none other than our dev brother Steve. Let's get it rolling, my teacher. Always a pleasure having you in the community. Thank you so much for your involvement, your consistency as well. And I'm just as thrilled to be part of this session today with all of you. My great brother Theo, always a pleasure having you in the community as well. Greetings, my great brother Steve, dearest great Queen Mama Wino, and my phenomenal BULLRUN family. Hope you and yours are doing fantastic. Looking forward to what the professor has brewing. Let's go. Always a pleasure having you in the community as well. Thank you very much for showing up consistently. It's always a pleasure. We have Queen Lati again. If you are part of this ecosystem and you find yourself not have talked about this project in a day, then it means you have not understood the magnitude of this project. Let's give each other a challenge. This is amazing. Great statement, Queen Lati. Absolutely. There's so much to talk about this ecosystem. And this is always something so beautiful to discuss. We talk about this 3 times a week, and we have VCs open, we have Zooms open. So we are always open and ready to discuss the industry and our ecosystem. Absolutely. There's so much to talk about it because it directly relates to the industry, to the to the financial system that we're in, to the business cycles, the boom and bust cycles, interest rates, liquidity cycles, just everything. So yes, it's a very complex and yet very interesting ecosystem that we always have topics to discuss. Absolutely right. Queen Nosy, welcome as well. Good evening, BULLRUN family. It's a pleasure to meet again this evening, receiving for education, information and inspiration from our one and only brother Steve. Good evening to our Queen Mother. Thank you very much, Queen Nosy. It's always a pleasure having you here as well with us today. Queen Lati says to our Queen Mother, may the wisdom increase as we soldier on despite the challenges we are meeting in our daily lives. Absolutely. Beautifully said, Queen Lati. Yes, this is what's beautiful about communities, that we can get to share our challenges, we can socialize, and we can share our challenges amongst ourselves, and these are the sessions for that as well. So absolutely, this is beautiful as we can move forward despite our daily life. Queen Nancy, always a pleasure having you, being present in these community events. Always a pleasure having you here. Thank you for also showing up today consistently. Good evening, Steve, BULLRUN community. Another great day to gather here and get some trending knowledge from our dev, Steve. Thanking you in advance for taking your time to educate us. Let's go, BULLRUN. Thank you as well, Queen Nancy. Always a pleasure having you here as well. My great brother Theo says, well said, Queen Lati. Absolutely. Very, very well said. We have Queen Margaret here as well. Greetings to you, community. Greetings to you, my dearest brother Steve, and my Queen Mother, Mama Wino. I am looking forward to this amazing session. Always a pleasure having you here with us, Queen Margaret. Thank you for showing up as well consistently in these community events. We have Queen Patricia saying, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Steve, for your commitment. Stay protected and blessed always. Thank you so much. May you also stay protected and blessed as well. Thank you for your consistency and always showing up for these community events. We have Queen Beatrice as well. Greetings to our great Queen Mother Wino, great brother Steve, BULLRUN community. We are ready to be educated, informed, and empowered. Always a pleasure seeing you, Queen Beatrice, on all social platforms. Thank you so much for your consistency and for always showing up to these community events. We have none other than Queen Mother Wino herself. Greetings, kings and queens. Glad to be part of this amazing community. Wishing everyone a great start of the month, family. Thanks, Steve, for another educational and informative session. Thank you as well for your leadership, your guidance, your encouragement, and for your consistency as well, for leading, guiding us on a consistent basis. Thank you as well. We have Queen Asubik. We have my brother Bright. Greetings, great community. Greetings back to you as well, my brother Bright. And then we have my great brother Cryptorizer as well. Greetings, family. I am not able to watch, but I'm here to listen. I will watch it again later this evening. Bullish as always. Thank you, Steve. Thank you as well, my brother Cryptorizer, for always showing up despite the circumstances. With that said, I would like to really get into the topic today, as there is quite a bit to discuss. Once more, thank you everyone for showing up today, and looking forward to a great session today. If you can bear with me, let me share my screen so we can get this going. As we said, the topic today is what's brewing for us today, and what's happening in the industry, what can we expect, and our best way to start is from the beginning. Let's look at what can we expect this year? What's about to happen for this year? And then we'll move forward with current events and then break them down as we move forward as we go. So I just want to clarify some things here in the crypto space, in the dynamic realm of finance, and this refers to the cryptocurrencies. We are at the forefront of a great evolution of this new technology known as the blockchain technology that encompasses the digital assets that we are dealing with. And the largest one, of course, being Bitcoin, that laid the foundation, laid the groundwork for every other cryptocurrency that follows along. I always like to really highlight the purpose of the blockchain technology, the original purpose of Bitcoin itself, that was to empower the common people like you and myself. It was to empower, equip, and enable the retailers, the majority, the 99%. It was created for us to be able to transact with each other, borderless, on a global scale. It was developed for us to be able to participate in this new digital economy without any limitations, without any permissions needed, so permissionless. And also, it was to empower us to be able to be our own banks, have control of our own assets and properties. And that's the whole idea. And we often tend to forget that. And we always need to remind ourselves every time that that was the whole purpose and idea of the blockchain technology. At least that was what was fed us. That was what we were fed to believe, right? And as we think about it also, it was perfect timing right after the financial crisis is when Bitcoin actually was rolled out. On January 3rd, 2009, right after the financial crisis hit, right when we needed a new perspective, when we needed a new monetary system that is trustless, that is permissionless, everything that Bitcoin and the blockchain technology has promised us. Those are the things that we really needed, especially right coming out of a financial bubble like that, where institutions have led retailers astray, have caused retailers to lose their jobs, their homes, their assets. We lost trust in institutions and governments, and we lost all our properties and assets. And now here comes a new digital economy where it's borderless, it's permissionless. We can all take place, participate in it. And all of these were buzzwords for us. This is exactly what we needed to hear. And this is what we want to be part of. And this is what blockchain is all about. And this is why Bitcoin was developed in the first place. So always keep this in mind. Now, if we move forward, we see how this new year, 2024, is set to really be a major decision year, because we'll experience a lot of new things that we're about to experience in addition to the cryptocurrency now really gaining an adaptation and becoming really mainstream as large institutions and established institutions, government bodies, and regulators are openly discussing and embracing cryptocurrency. So we've witnessed major growth as well, not just technological innovation, but also on the regulatory front. Some countries, of course, are much more advanced than others. But as far as regulations and regulatory clarity, this is the year for it. And we also witnessing an increase in acceptance of these digital currencies, not just from retail as we are used to, but also from the institutional side of it as well. So what I want us to look at is 3-4 major items that are really present and will be dominating in 2024. And if we may start with CBDCs. CBDCs are central bank digital currencies. this is not welcomed by retailers at all because this is completely centralized. CBDCs go against the ethos that we just discussed, because central bank digital currencies, just like the name suggests, are launched and rolled out by nations' central banks. Okay, so that means they're all programmed and it's centralized, of course. They're unlike cryptocurrencies that are completely decentralized, right? So especially community tokens that are completely decentralized. So unlike cryptocurrencies, CBDCs are government issued, rolled out through central banks, and every nation is working on their own to roll them out. So what they're basically doing is they're moving their fiat currencies and want to just roll them on the blockchain and digitalize them. So as we move and we progress throughout this session today, we'll realize some items here, and we'll see how the US really has a leg up in compared to the competition right now, and the reason why. So CBDCs, like I said, are issued worldwide through central banks. And in 2024, many countries are expected to make significant strides in developing and implementing their own CBDCs, like we said. And this, of course, will open ways for governments to perceive and utilize digital currencies. So it's not just bad, but it also shows that now governments are really embracing the digital economy, the new digital era. And this is exactly what we want, that mainstream really understands that this new digital economy is here to stay. It's not just based on speculative investments, but it's the new technology used to bring forth a new era of the way we view finance, the way we store our assets, the way we have access to those assets, and how we use those assets as our properties. And it's a steep learning curve right now to really understand and really get to know how to embrace this new freedom, this new opportunities, and this new digital economy that is upon us right now. So like we said, these new CBDCs are meant to streamline financial transactions, reduce fraud, and also enhance monetary policies globally on a global scale. Like I said, these CBDCs are centrally launched, and they're through the governments, and they're not so welcomed by us retailers, simply because, like we just discussed, especially during the 2008 financial crisis, we lost trust institutions. We don't trust the governments. We realized that we're on our own. That the governments will always bail out these institutions, but they will not bail out retailers, you and me. So this new blockchain technology and this new digital economy brought a lot of promise and hope that we can really be part of something from the ground up that is built for us and that works for us in our favor. And unfortunately, the reality will look different. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go one step at a time. Another thing that we also will experience throughout 2024 is interoperability, especially through the different blockchains. Look at blockchains as nations, global nations, that is opening their borders for everyone to participate in its economy. And our blockchain of preference is Ethereum, of course. But currently, for example, right now, the Ethereum blockchain that we are in is, for the gas purposes, we're using Ethereum. And every other blockchain or every other project and application on the Ethereum blockchain is either paired with Ethereum or, in our case, USDC. But for gas purposes, we're all using Ethereum. There are other blockchains as well, such as Binance and Solana, for example, and other layer 2s. However, currently, it's so hard. They're not interconnected right now. you would literally have to leave, for example, Ethereum to go to Solana. And they have different applications. They have different, different utilities over there, and a whole different economy. So it's a whole different country. And if we go to Binance, same thing. So as we see, there'll be more interoperability between these different blockchains. This will also help in aggregating liquidity better, for example, or for the different applications to interact with each other much more efficiently, and also to bring mainstream adaptation much faster. So one person can jump from Ethereum easily to Binance, for example, and from Binance back to Solana, and so on and so forth. So this is something that is in the works. Of course, this will facilitate seamless communication, like we said, and also transferring assets between different blockchains will be so much easier as well. And different projects, will be able to work together and also have like collaborative works and efforts as well. And this will just bring much more mainstream adaptation as well. It will bring traction, it will foster collaboration, like we said, and innovation across decentralized landscape. So this is also one of the things that in 2024 and moving forward is going to be looked at much more closer. And also, as the crypto industry continues to grow, we also face cyber threats as well. So security plays a major role as well. And we have to emphasize on security measures within our crypto space. And this is very important, as it requires our smart contracts, for example, to be audited. We have to ensure that before we deploy any smart contracts on chain, we have to ensure that they're audited. We also have to ensure that the way we develop ecosystems, that they're focusing on protecting the consumers, the users. It's very important. We also have to ensure that it's compliant, okay? And also that it's developed in a way that it creates a positive feedback loop, meaning that the more it's being used, it's effective, it's efficient, it's sustainable, and it's developed for the long term. So all of this is part of security, and part of security is always putting the users in the forefront. You have to protect the users. You have to protect the community. And moving forward, this will be highlighted, and will be vital in maintaining trust and confidence among users, and also not just retailers, but also on an institutional level. So this moving forward will be very, very important, security. And security also encompasses, like I said, efficiency, sustainability, addressing challenges, user-friendly, and security itself, like audits that are done to ensure that the smart contracts are secured, and also developing an ecosystem that is pro-user and protects the users. And we'll get into more details on what it means, what we mean when we say protecting users as well. Of course, regulatory landscape. This is a big topic right now. 2024, it's all about regulatory regulations. It started 2 years ago already. And 2024, it's more about emphasizing and implementing. As we see, we'll move forward. As we move forward, we'll touch more, we'll get more into details. But however, the regulatory landscape is big in 2024. And like I said at the beginning, nations are not the same. Some nations are way ahead of others, and they already adopted and embraced the cryptocurrency regulations in diverse ways. And this also, we can see how that reflects in the economy, social and political landscape as well. And as every nation is moving at a different pace, So some nations are way advanced already compared to others as far as regulations are concerned. And this also can be a pro or a con, because it can be a pro because you have more developers and visionaries coming to your jurisdiction to want to launch or develop their platforms in that nation. And it can also be a bad thing, because sometimes we tend to learn from others' mistakes. So if we see that, for example, certain industries or certain regulations were not as clear-cut as we thought, this can cause a lot of confusion and then backlashes. Like the US right now, they're just suing everybody and everything. They're suing Uniswap, Ethereum, they're suing Coinbase, they're suing like Stablecoins, and they're just suing everybody and everything. And just to see where they can stick some dirt on people and just slow down the innovation. Whereas other nations are way more advanced, they embrace policies, they already have regulations laid out already, like Europe, for example, with MiCA. They are also very advanced already. They already laid out clear regulations, and these regulations will be implemented actually next month. So June 30th, end of next month, these regulations will be implemented. And this is the difference. Some nations are more advanced than others. Also, like we said, increased clarity will be pushed, and this will bring greater adaptation as well. And as governments around the world will provide clear guidelines on how cryptocurrencies should be treated, how investors and institutions are gaining the confidence to engage with these digital assets. And this clarity will become a key driver for mainstream adaptation. And this will enable traditional financial institutions to participate more actively also in the crypto space. So far, the crypto space is led by retailers, just like the economies, global economies are led by retailers. So this time around in 2024, it's really new that institutions are at the forefront as well. And they are the ones actually cheerleading currently. They are the forefront right now. Their own social media, established institutions that are regulated, highly regulated, even banks, financial institutions, payment processors, government bodies, they're all at the forefront campaigning for Bitcoin and campaigning for the cryptocurrencies as well. So this is different compared to the last bull cycle. Finally, the third part, of course, is DeFi, decentralized finance. We started DeFi, actually DeFi summer started in 2017. It really blossomed last bull cycle, 2021, and now it's reaching its maturity this time around. Because what I mean with maturity is that there are established DeFi protocols that have been around for a while now. Like we said, Uniswap, for example, is not just the largest, but it's the most copied decentralized exchange. Currently on every blockchain, there is a DeFi, there is a decentralized exchange, and they're all copies from Uniswap. So Uniswap is laid the foundation and is the prototype, literally. And every other blockchain is just copying the smart contract of Uniswap and making it their own. For example, PancakeSwap, 1inch, they're all copies of Uniswap. So DeFi is going to reach its maturity, and it's also still, it has so much room for innovation still, and it's offering a large variation of financial services. And this is it, without the need for traditional intermediaries. Like we discussed, true decentralization, true decentralized finance is what Bitcoin and the blockchain technology promised us in the first place. And the key factor here is that without the need for traditional intermediaries, no institutions, no governments, no any other bodies in between, we should be able to transact from me to you, from peer to peer, without any limitations, borderless, without needing any permission from any institutions or government body. It's inclusive. Everybody can participate. It's timeless, meaning that we can transact at midnight, 3 in the morning on a holiday. Borderless. These are all the benefits of the blockchain technology, and this is what was promised to us. So what we can expect in 2024 is that the DeFi ecosystem, they'll mature even further, and they'll be able to address challenges. They should be addressing challenges that we are experiencing in the space, especially related to security, scalability, user experience as well, and so on and so forth. Also, improved infrastructure as well, and like we said, interoperability between the different DeFi platforms. And all of this will pave the road for a more robust and user-friendly decentralized financial landscape. Currently, what we need to understand is that DeFi becomes more accessible through traditional financial institutions, and they might, if they don't adopt or embrace it, their fear is that they might become obsolete. Because keep in mind, right now, your traditional bank right now, where you deposit your salary that you get, and where you also have an account with them, whenever you need to access your funds, and if it's on a weekend, you won't be able to access it, right? Unless you have to wait for banking hours, right? And also, they can freeze your account any moment. They can block you from having access to your account. You have to meet certain criteria. Some banks won't let you open accounts if you don't have employment, if you don't meet certain criteria, if you don't have a certain credit score, or you don't meet a requirement based on your background check. So these are all limitations. And this is what DeFi, decentralized finance, really opens doors and for us. Where, like we said, we are unlimited. We can really just download your wallet, have access to your DeFi wallet, and then get on Uniswap, connect your wallet to it, get ETH, and you can start trading right away. And you don't need permission. You don't have to meet certain requirements. No background checks, no credit scores, none of that. Everybody's included and welcomed to participate in this global digital economy. That's the beauty of it. NFTs, I'm not going to touch much on this, but this is also still, these NFTs will have more use cases, more utilities, and they will expand their use cases beyond just animal faces. But it will go, for example, into real estate, gaming, IP, which stands for intellectual properties. Also, as the technology matures, NFTs will likely also revolutionize ownership, and how you can authentify items. Let me make examples. For example, currently, Starbucks used to have like this loyalty programs, like loyalty rewards. You can get like an NFT for Starbucks, and each time you go and get your coffee or whatever you need from there, it will be added. Like they'll be able to give you points. They'll give your NFT points that you can then redeem for discounts, or to just add accessories to your NFT and develop your NFT in that way. So there are different ways to foster customer loyalty. This is like a new form of loyalty programs. It's a new form to build a community now. And you see these established institutions now trying to use NFTs to bring customer loyalty, to build like community that they can join. And now these institutions, for example, they also now have Discords, for example, where regular users or customers of Starbucks, for example, can join, interact amongst themselves. And this is all part of the blockchain experience, where you can start building communities now based on preferences, you know. And another example also, for example, is footwear, like for example Nike right now. Nike, if whenever you purchase an item with Nike, for example, you'll get an NFT version of it as well. So you see how they're starting to use this, established institutions are starting to use these NFTs in different ways to just build brand loyalty or start building communities around their customers, you know. And we just see where this is heading. So in a nutshell, the future of 2024 will be all about growth, maturation, and integration, like we said. And we also have to remain vigilant in addressing challenges. This is very important, you know, especially this industry being so young. We have to focus on addressing the challenges from very beginning. So if you're part of an ecosystem, you want to be part of an ecosystem that is literally identifying the challenges in the space and addressing them from the very beginning. Keep in mind, we find ourselves at the very early stages of this new digital economy. And those who really make the right moves right now, like we said, efficient, focusing on efficiency, sustainability, focusing on the 99%, the community, how they should be protected. And we'll discuss more what we mean with protecting them. Focus on compliance, focus on sustainability, on addressing the challenges. All of these are very important. Another aspect is security, like we said. Security is important. Ensure that the smart contracts are secure, they're audited, ensure that the platform is developed in a way that is sustainable. That's all part of security. It's efficient. That's all part of security. It's regulatory compliant. And all of that is very, very important. This will bring forth trust and confidence in the user base, you know, and it will also bring us a much better reputation as an industry. So these are important items. So 2024 holds promises for more interconnection, efficiency, and inclusive financial ecosystem. So this is very important for us. So if you are, it will take all of us, the entire industry, all of our efforts, be it developers, users, regulators, and stakeholders, we all play a major role in shaping the future because we are so early on in this industry, and this is how we'll pave the road moving forward. With this said, we discussed, let's go now one by one. We discussed CBDCs right at the beginning. So let's elaborate more about this. This so-called BRICS, they're working on creating their own new payment system. The current global payment system is run by the US, and we know it as the SWIFT payment system. And BRICS, which comprise of 5 nations, okay? And these 5 nations are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So they're currently working in creating a payment system based on, of course, blockchain and the digital technology. And they believe that creating an independent BRICS payment system is an important goal for the future, okay? Which will be based on a state-of-the-art tools such as digital technology and blockchain. And what they're focusing on is to make everything more convenient for the governments, for the common people, and businesses, as well as it should be cost-effective and free of politics, you know. So the reason why BRICS wants to create their own payment system in the first place is because all these sanctions that the US has been laying on these various countries, you know. So they've just been fed up with it because, like, they're thinking, who is US to be able to just randomly place sanctions on nations, you know? So this is why the BRICS nations came up with the solution that, listen, we need to come up with our own payment system, leveraging the blockchain technology and the digital technology as well. And this is what's moving forward. This is what they're tackling right now. And this year, this role of BRICS is literally increasing. And they want to create their own international monetary system. And the reason why is because they want to reduce reliance on the US dollar, okay, in settlement. And this is also known as de-dollarization. So this is the whole idea. They want to less independence on the US dollar, and they want to have their own payment system. They don't want to be using SWIFT, because currently SWIFT is being abused right now by the US, just placing random sanctions if they don't agree with the nation's agenda or political, preferences. And if the nations don't do as they please, they tend to just, lay sanctions on these nations. And the BRICS just want to cut away from that and come up with their own monetary system. And this just shows us where we are headed right now, because all of this will require them to use the blockchain technology and the adaptation of the digital technology as well. If we move forward, like we said, currently on Tuesday, 3 months after US had issued their spot Bitcoin ETF, now in Hong Kong, they issued not just Bitcoin, but also Ethereum ETF. And that was on Tuesday. However, it wasn't as large as the US's one, at least for the first day, but still it wasn't bad. It was over 100 million. It was over 100 million in comparison to like 4.6 billion in the US. But then again, the US is the largest financial market. So it's not fair to compare the two, because obviously the US market is way larger than the Hong Kong market. So like I said, in the first day, 6 ETFs were responsible for roughly 112 million inflow. But this is, like I said, is nothing. It's a drop in a bucket compared to the 4.6 billion that US had in the first trading day. But still, it's just good to see that other nations are also now opening doors to cryptocurrencies and the digital economy, and enabling users also to be able to transact with these digital assets. What's good, and I want to mention that with these ETFs from Hong Kong, is that in contrast to the US ones, you can actually purchase these ETFs with Ethereum or with Bitcoin directly. And also, once you sell these ETFs, you get Ethereum back or you get your Bitcoin back. So this is a much more advanced. These are much more advanced ETFs compared to the ones in the US, because in the US, keep in mind, it's cash only. So you have to pay with cash, with US dollar, and in return, you also only get US dollars back, and you only get IOU. You get a receipt for the share that you bought. But these ones in Hong Kong, you're literally holding the assets. So this is a much more superior ETF, and it's in the benefit and in the interest of the community. So these are part of the things that we said are very important and are set the tone and are different as well. So just to keep this in mind as well. What we also want to understand is that the reason why we saw a drop in the market and Bitcoin actually dropped all the way to 55,000 before it dropped back to 56 and 57,000 was because for the first time we saw how the BlackRock Bitcoin ETFs started seeing outflows now. After 71 days of straight inflows, we started seeing outflow. And this was on Wednesday. So Wednesday, BlackRock alone had an outflow of 37 million, but all 11 collectively had an outflow of more than $500 million. So this, of course, caused also the negative effect on the market, in addition to the uncertainty of yesterday's FOMC meeting by the Feds, by the government. The market was really unsure and uncertain. And if we look at, let me refresh. It's back to neutral. Actually, it was fear. So the fear index was actually back to fear. Now it's back to neutral because the uncertainties of whether the Feds would hike the interest rates, which will actually be a disaster for the markets. But because the Feds decided to actually keep the rates the same at 5%, it caused the market to really pick back up. And as we see now, Bitcoin, for example, is back at 59 from down to 55, 56 yesterday. So we see how it's picking back up. And also Ethereum is closing in back on 3,000. So the market is recovering again. As we see, the fear index is back to neutral. So things are picking back up and coming back together. Like I say, the 11 cumulatively saw roughly 563 million outflow on Wednesday. And but this is normal. We can't just see inflows. We also will see people will take profits as well. And like I say, the difference between the US ETFs and the Hong Kong ETFs is literally you own the assets. You can even buy these ETFs with the assets. And if you sell these shares, these ETFs, you actually get the real asset back. So in my eyes, the ones in Hong Kong are way more superior. And also they are much more attractive for not just institutions, but especially for retailers as well, because you literally own the asset. And this is exactly what we need. This is what will really bring mainstream adaptation, because this means that liquidity remains on the chain. And that's the difference. Other markets are encouraging liquidity to get into the blockchain, but US is focusing heavily on keeping the liquidity from the blockchain and keeping it in the traditional institutions. That's why they opted just for cash only. So as long as US ETFs are cash only, this liquidity will not translate onto the blockchains. It will just remain within the traditional financial systems. Also, not to just much more now, BlackRock also now is talking to sovereign wealth funds and pension funds also. And they've been educating them, and they have been in discussion with these funds and endowments, and in the talks that they should really embrace and maybe have a small allocation in Bitcoin ETF. And for me, I take such news with a grain of salt, because it's in BlackRock's best interest, and of course other ETF issuers, for retailers to really dive heads first into Bitcoin, because like we know, Bitcoin itself that is sold on centralized exchanges, they are illiquid. They are illiquid assets as well. And also it's in BlackRock's best interest to attract as many retailers as possible that will take a paper of a share rather than the real asset. So, because keep in mind, the more of the asset that these institutions hold and own, the more liquidity they can create, right? So the more Bitcoin is in the hands of these institutions, the more liquidity they can generate, right? So keeping real assets, keeping ownership away from retailers, that's the agenda, at least in the US. You see the difference between US and Hong Kong is, in Hong Kong, they encourage retailers to own these assets outright. You can even buy these ETFs with the assets themselves. And whenever you sell these assets, you get back those assets. And that's the beauty of it, because this is the future. And US right now, they want to limit these assets to institutions and give retailers just a paper, just like the current fiat system that was backed with gold. They want to keep the original asset, the gold, for example, and then they give you the paper version of it that is worthless. So we have to be really careful when we read such news so that we don't fall for this thinking, funds are about to come, pension funds are coming, all these endowments are coming. So this gives us the green light to also just jump headfast into ETFs. But ETFs are actually contradicting the ideals of blockchain technology and the ideals of Bitcoin in the first place. Because now you have intermediaries. Now you have to have permission. You have to be qualified to participate in ETFs, right? You have to show your IDs, and you have to go through AML and all that. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's now limited to a specific individuals, and you have to be qualified to participate. It's not open for everyone. It's not inclusive. And also it's keeping the liquidity away from the blockchain. And these are things we need to really understand. And another thing I want to address also and really highlight is yesterday's FOMC meeting, where the topic was whether to hike the interest rate, cut interest rates, or will it remain. All these uncertainties brought about confusion in the market, and that's why you saw a lot of sell-offs, because investors didn't know what Powell will say. So in summary, now the Fed decided to hold the rate steady at 5%. And they were talking about why they're keeping it steady is because the lack of inflation progress. They don't see indications that show that inflation is going to drop naturally, as we progress. Now, keep in mind, these are not my words. These are Powell's words, right? Because I don't see it the way they see it. They say how central banks will slow down. Starting June, central banks will slow down with taking money out of the economy. So first they had said that they'll be removing, every month they're removing roughly 95 billion a month out of the economy. But now they reduced it down to only 60. So it will be 60 million a month that they'll be 60 billion a month, excuse me, that they're removing. So they'll slow down with it. Also, he also ensured that there won't be no interest hikes. Okay, that won't be the next move. That was another fear of the market. They thought that since the inflation is just stagnant, the Feds might decide to hike the interest rate in order to process this whole cycle faster. But that's not the case. So this was good news. And also, they were also saying that they won't cut interest rates for much longer, than they thought. So the confidence to cut rates will take longer. So they are stagnating. They are really dragging their feet to cut interest rates. So keep in mind, the Feds will always tell you one thing, but then if you look at their actions, it tells you actually something completely different. And this is what I want to highlight. So this is what they're feeding us. They're dragging their feet. They don't want to cut interest rates because there's no indications that the rates are coming down and so on and so forth. This is what they're feeding us. But what's really happening is this. Stablecoin regulations are in full effect, okay? Regulations are very, very important. And regulatory clarity in the US, especially stablecoin regulatory clarity, is very important. Stablecoins play a major role in this space. We know this article by heart by now. We read how cryptocurrencies failed the test of being digital money, right? And we've read this test and we've used this article multiple times. And this just shows that cryptocurrencies don't qualify to be digital money. And by now we know the reason why, right? And this article also goes further and says that stablecoins, not cryptocurrencies, will be part of the financial ecosystem in the future, right? And we'll understand why soon, why we'll say. We already know why, but we'll emphasize today again. So with that said, the reason why, this is just my personal humble opinion, the reason why the Feds are still dragging their feet to cut interest rates is because of this right here. There's still no regulatory clarity on stablecoin, okay? And this is very important because once this regulatory clarity in the US is in full effect, this is what's going to happen now. Now, banks will be now able to participate in stablecoins, in the stablecoin market, all right? And also, this will reduce the dominance of USDT. Keep in mind, USDT is a Chinese company. It's a non-US entity. And at the same time, it happens to be the largest stablecoin, right? By far the largest stablecoin outside of the US. So if you are the US government, you feel some type of way. How can a non-US entity dominate and control so much of our currency on a digital platform in this new digital economy? We have to somehow catch up or bring in regulations to ensure that we can bring down this mammoth, and of Tether. Tether is completely dominating the industry as far as stablecoins are concerned. So the whole plan here is that before they start cutting interest rates, they want to bring clarity, regulatory clarity, as far as stablecoins is concerned. And they want to empower banks to be able to participate in stablecoins. And this new stablecoin bill was prepared 2 weeks ago now, and it's been passed already. And once it's in full effect, it will limit, if you don't have a banking license, it will limit you to have issue only up to 10 billion in your stablecoin, right? And in order to go above the 10 billion, you have to have a US banking license. So this is all strategic because this right here, because what we discussed, BRICS. These 5 nations and many, many more they don't want to use the US dollar anymore, right? And because they don't want to use the US dollar anymore, and they're all going to de-dollar, this will cause de-dollarization, right? They want to reduce their reliance on the US dollar. And these are major economies. This is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and then other UAE countries as well. And many, many other countries. It's like more than a dozen by now. Many, many more are reducing their reliance on the US dollar. So the US, they are forced to come with different strategies. They have to come up with regulations in order to ensure that these US debts that are no longer being bought by nations, someone has to purchase them, right? For them to really keep the dominance going. So this is why the Feds are still dragging their feet. They're still talking about not wanting to cut interest rates because they know once you cut interest rates, liquidity will have to be flooded and injected through these central banks into the economy. But they can't do that before the US stablecoin regulations are passed, because now that will mean that the banks, such as the ones that BlackRock gave approval for to be authorized participants, which is Goldman Sachs, Citibank, JP Morgan, UBS, and the largest banks now, they'll be now able to also purchase all these US treasuries, which is US debts. And also we discussed how the fund that is led by BlackRock have their own fund that they deployed on Ethereum, remember? and they're focusing on, this is it right here. They're focusing on purchasing 100% of treasury bills, of debts with it. So all of these stable coins, this tokenization, all of assets, all of these are strategies to bring digital demand for digital US stable coins on the blockchain. So, and because the regulations will require these stablecoin issuers to be able to buy all these US debts to back the stablecoins, it will cause the dollar to really be in much demand as far as digital currency. So all this is done strategically. So interest rates will not be cut until stablecoin regulation is put in place. And all of this is because this quarter alone in 2024, first quarter in 2024, US Tether, they had a record profit of 4.5 billion. And this is net profit. This is clean profit after all the expenses. This is a record. They are making more money than BlackRock. And they're barely 5 years old. And it's a non-US company. And they have so much US debts. It's unbelievable. They control, where is it? Right here. The US Treasury exceeds 90 billion. So they're the largest, currently they're the largest US Treasury bill holder as far as a cryptocurrency project. It's incredible. And they hold 90% of their backing is cash and cash equivalents, meaning they're extremely liquid. All right. And they're the most liquid within the stablecoin ecosystem. And so this is the reason why you see US wanting to create regulations, stablecoin regulations, because for one, it's very lucrative. It brings it brings tons of money. And also it brings US dollar demand. So if banks, institutions, like these asset managers, they're having all these liquidity funds to bring liquidity onto these tokenized assets. And this liquidity fund of BlackRock is paired with USDC. So, and we know that hundreds of trillions of dollars will be required to back all these tokenized assets. What does that mean? That means that we'll also need hundreds of trillions in USDC, right? And that means that this USDC that will be in hundreds of trillions will also need to be backed by US debt. So you see the strategy here. All this push of tokenizing assets is not because BlackRock is embracing the blockchain technology. No, all this is because they're working together with the government to replace all these BRICS nations and have a way to purchase all these US debts. This is needed because the money printing that is about to take place will be massive, more massive than last bull cycles, way more massive. Because now all this push of tokenizing assets will require the feds to print a lot of money. And now they're dragging their feet right now, claiming that, oh, inflation is still here in progress. We don't know when we'll cut the interest rates, blah, blah, blah. However, they're dragging their feet to ensure that these stablecoin regulations are pushed through so that the banks, institutions, and everybody else, and these funds have access to stablecoins, are required to purchase all these US treasuries, which are US debts. And this in turn will now open the gates for the feds to print as much money as they want, because now they're not depending on these BRICS nations to purchase their debts, but now they have their own in-house banks that they control and regulate that will be purchasing trillions and trillions of dollars worth of debt. And this will open the gates for the Feds to print as much money as they want to back all these so-called tokenized assets that are about to enter the blockchain system. And because they're already on Ethereum blockchain is about to be flooded with tons of liquidity, and this is good for us. So we'll experience another massive influx of money printing by the Feds. And this is why we always say this will be the largest wealth transfer event in history. And this is why we say we're really privileged to be part of this so early on. Again, keep in mind, they're not in this because they want to embrace the technology and they want to empower the 99%ers. And no, it's all about the money. It's extremely lucrative to be into the stablecoin industry. It's very lucrative. And also, like we said, it's stablecoins that play a major role and will be part of a financial ecosystem in the future. Why is that the case? Why stablecoins? Because like we just said here, they're extremely liquid, right? We just saw. They're extremely liquid. Tether is backed 100% by treasuries. And they exceed over 90 billion in treasury bills. So that's just treasury bills alone. And then they have like 11 billion also in cash. So they're extremely liquid. They're the most liquid asset in the cryptocurrency. So they're extremely liquid. And this is why this article is talking about stablecoins being the future of financial ecosystem, because the liquidity. Let's not believe this. Let's look at it even further. The Binance CEO, we know this week he was on the April 30th. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison. Right after his sentence, he had tweeted something out. And he said the following. So he said that he will do his time. He will conclude this phase, and then he will focus on his next chapter in life. And this is education. So here's an individual who literally started from scratch and developed the largest exchange in the world. In contrast of Sam Bankman-Fried, he didn't rob anyone. His fault was he allowed illegal activities, and he went against the anti-money laundering regulations. So that's what was his cause. So anyway, he wants to focus on education. Even after he comes out, he wants to focus on educating the industry. And also, he says that he will remain a passive investor and holder in crypto. And this is very important. Our industry is entering a new phase. And this phase is a phase of compliance. And compliance is extremely important. And at the end, he says that even though Binance has been under microscope, because like we said, the DOJ, the Department of Justice, for the next 3 to 5 years, will be looking under the hood of Binance. Every step they make, they'll be looking, checking. And he's talking about how the funds are safe, right? And his final word is protect users. Remember how he's talked about protecting users. This is what this is all about. Keep in mind, this is the Monetary Authority of Singapore. And we looked up this Ravi Menon last time. He's part of the WEF, which is World Economic Forum. So he's a well-decorated individual. And he's pushing, he's emphasizing that it's stablecoins and not cryptocurrencies that are the future of the financial ecosystem within the crypto industry. And now we see why, because they're extremely liquid, okay? And let's go further. The reason why also is that, you remember this is the BULLRUN, BlackRock's tokenized BULLRUN fund that we're talking about, the liquidity fund that is paired with USDC that you can redeem 24/7. Do you remember they're all about tokenizing real world assets, right? And they're all about 100%. They're investing 100% in what? Cash and US Treasury bills. So this fund is dedicated to just purchase US debt. Eventually, this will be the largest liquidity fund on the Ethereum blockchain, literally, because the purpose is to provide liquidity for all these tokenized real-world assets. And we talked about how these are in trillions, hundreds of trillions of dollars. Global real estate market alone is 400 trillion. So you can imagine this fund, liquidity fund, is paired with USDC. So this means that USDC will have to buy hundreds of trillions worth of US debt to back this stablecoin. This means currently US has a debt of 34 trillion, right? So imagine if all these tokenized assets come to 500 trillion. This means that USDC, which wants to be a full reserve digital bank currency, they will also have to purchase US debts. This fund, liquidity fund, that is focusing on tokenized assets will also have to buy hundreds of trillions in treasury bills, US debts. This will open doors for the US dollar to print trillions of dollars more without any negative impact. Because now they have institutions, they have liquidity funds, they have banks that are literally buying up trillions of dollars worth of debts. And this will cause the largest printing yet in the history of the US. And all of this in the name of tokenizing assets. And this is why, and keep in mind, this is on the Ethereum blockchain. And all three projects of ours are already on the Ethereum blockchain. So this just shows how much liquidity Ethereum is about to amass. And as we know, our ecosystem is specializing in retaining liquidity, in taking advantage of all this volume that is we're about to be flooded with. So the future is extremely bright for us, and we can literally look forward to all of this that is happening. Let's look further. What did CZ mean when he said protect users? This is an individual that understands the importance of protecting users. And this goes hand in hand with this article. Stablecoins, not crypto, will be part of financial system. We know now why, because they're liquid, right? They're extremely liquid. So let's look at this article. In contrast to fractional reserve banking, full reserve banking requires banks to keep full amount of each depositor's funds, right, in cash and cash equivalent, right? This is exactly what Tether is doing. They have 90% in what? Cash and cash equivalent. And it's at 90%. So 90% of their assets is cash and cash equivalent, meaning that right now, Tether has over 110 billion. So 90% of people can just cash out right now out of Tether, and it's not a problem whatsoever. It will still remain pegged. You can't say that for Bitcoin and any other cryptocurrency. You can't say that. And this is the reason why. All this has to be, you have to be ready for instant withdrawal on demand, known as 100% reserve banking, right? This means that whenever a holder wishes to cash out their tokens, they should be able to cash out. This is what CZ meant with protect your users. Your funds are safe. What does that mean? That means that what he means with your users' funds are safe, that means he protected the users. This means that whenever they're ready to cash out, they should be able to cash out, right? This is why this article clearly says it's the stablecoins and not crypto that will be part of the financial ecosystem, and it's because the liquidity of stablecoins. Now, if you hear us talking about liquidity and retaining liquidity and the importance of liquidity, and we emphasize on that, how we're retaining it, how we are scarce, how we are retaining USDC distributions, how our ecosystem is sustainable, this is all part of compliance. This is compliance. This is what 2024 is all about. Focusing on the community, focusing on protecting the users, focusing on education, focusing on compliance, right? We're in a new phase. Compliance is super important. What does compliance mean? Compliance means that you should have reserves, and anyone should be able to instantly withdraw on demand. And whenever they're ready to cash out, they should be able to cash out. That's how you protect your users. That's how you're compliant. That's how you keep the funds safe. And that's how you protect your users. And this is why we have an ecosystem specifically developed to retain liquidity in different ways, not just through taxes, but also through the 10% reserves that retains USDC, and through also the boosters revenue, because you need these boosters to get your 100%, right? Because if you don't have these boosters, you only get 70% of your USDC distributions. But if you stake 5 of them, you get your 100% USDC distributions. So this revenue is unlimited, and it's scalable, and it's sustainable. And all of this go towards liquidity. So the bottom line is that compliance is not just secure smart contracts that are audited, right? Like we have that also. We have our token and staking platform and minting platforms. They're all audited right here. They're all audited. So that's part of the security. But security is also having a sustainable ecosystem. How are you sustainable? You have to have mechanisms in place to retain liquidity, multiple ways. On a smart contract level, on a protocol level, and then on a minting level, like on a NFT, like we said, NFTs are also the future. You see how we discussed here everything, all these aspects, right? And the main one is regulatory compliance, right? Regulatory compliance. And regulation is all about building confidence, bringing trust, right, to those in the crypto space. And regulation is becoming a key driver for mainstream adaptation. And this will enable not just institutions, but also retailers to gain trust and to also be more actively involved in the crypto space. And how will they do that if you're not focusing on retaining liquidity? How important is liquidity? It's so important that BlackRock literally just deployed a liquidity fund on the Ethereum blockchain. And this is what these ETFs are all about. They are removing liquidity from the blockchain. And keep in mind, these ETFs, they're currently at over 72 billion in liquidity within less than 3 months. And Bitcoin, after 15 years, they're still stuck at 1 billion. So this just shows you how smart money is focusing on retaining liquidity, because that's compliance. If you can't provide liquidity for your customers, like CZ was saying, you have to protect them. And how do you protect them? Is through liquidity. And soon, this is now what's going to happen. Soon, the regulators will demand cryptocurrencies to be able to provide liquidity for the users. And if you can't, you probably won't be able to trade that cryptocurrency. And the argument that these ETFs will have is that cryptocurrency is dangerous. You see, they're already saying it. they're already saying cryptocurrencies, they don't qualify. They fail to be digital money, right? They can't. They're not qualified to be digital money. Only stablecoins so far, right? And ETFs, but ETFs are not on the blockchain. So what is about to happen is BlackRock, with their liquidity fund, their regulators about to say that if your cryptocurrencies is not liquid enough to protect its users, and the users can't cash out on demand, you won't be able to operate or trade that cryptocurrency. That's what's coming down the road, because this is why you see them setting up these funds. This is why you see Circle wants to become a full reserve digital currency bank. This is why they're talking about how you need 100% reserve banking, right? This is why they tell you how to protect. This is why you see even CZ is giving everybody a hint. He's already telling us compliance is important, and compliance is keeping users' money safe and protect the users. This is a hint he's telling people, and it's backed by this statement here. It's that only stablecoins are the future of the ecosystem, financial ecosystem, not crypto. The reason why is because cryptocurrencies, when the holders wish to cash out, they can't. Not even Bitcoin. If you think a 90% of Bitcoin holders can cash out without a problem, they can only do that with stablecoin, because it's backed by an impressive 90% by cash and cash equivalent. This is insane. Bitcoin is supposed to do that, not stablecoin. If Bitcoin was really advanced and developed for the community, 90% of individuals should be able to do that. At least after 15 years, they should be able to do that, but they can't. So this makes Bitcoin an inferior asset compared to stablecoins, because the whole idea of the digital economy is to be able to ensure that the holders can cash out whenever they wish to cash out. That's the whole idea. There's no point of having a bunch of tokens, but when you're ready to cash out, you can't, right? And the regulators, that's where they're heading. This is where they're heading now. This is why you see BlackRock putting together this liquidity fund to set themselves up to be able to say that cryptocurrencies are too dangerous, they don't protect their users, they should be banned. So if you're a cryptocurrency and you don't retain liquidity, you don't have mechanisms to retain liquidity, you don't have liquidity so that your users can cash out on demand, you probably won't be allowed to operate. You'll be probably banned. And that's where the regulation is heading to. And our ecosystem, we won't have to panic at all, because we are literally the only cryptocurrency right now on the blockchain that is focusing on retaining liquidity using various multiple different mechanisms. Like I said, on the smart contract level through taxes, on the protocol level through the reserves, and then on a minting level, NFT level as well, and then of course through the bulldozer level on the community level also. So on multiple levels, we are retaining liquidity. And not only that, we are focusing on scarcity as well, deflationary as well. And then of course we have our utility, which is a staking platform, which also issues USDC distributions. So now we are enabling the users, we're empowering the users to have a liquid collateral that when you decide to stake it, it's giving you a USDC distribution that is already backed 100%, that is extremely liquid. And now you're staking an asset that is also extremely liquid, that whenever you're ready to cash out, you can cash out. It doesn't get better than this. So we have two of the best worlds. Not only are we issuing out a medium of exchange through USDC, but we're also a store of value because we are extremely liquid, similar to stable coins, but also we are scarce. And if you look at, we started with 1 million in supply, now we're down to 970. So we already banned more than 29,000 tokens and removed them from total supply. At the same time, we already staked more than 60% right now of our total supply. So not only have we staked 60% and locked it away from circulating supply, but our total supply also keeps shrinking with every trade. So we have an extremely scarce supply, and we have the utility of staking, and we are enabling the stakers to receive USDC distributions, which is extremely liquid as well, while you're holding on to a store of value that is scarce and that is retaining liquidity, so that whenever you are ready to exit, you can exit at any time. There is no other asset right now on the Ethereum blockchain like the ones we have right now that is advanced and forward thinking, that is liquid and retaining liquidity with every trade, and that has multiple mechanisms in place to protect its users by retaining and accumulating liquidity. We are at a time right now where we see how all these sovereign funds, wealth funds, pension funds, where do you think they'll get the liquidity from? Where do you think they're getting all this liquidity from? They're getting it from BlackRock, because BlackRock have understood that you have to be in the liquidity business. That's where money is made. And this is what brings transactions. This is what brings volume. If you focus on liquidity, you will have volume. And volume is what sets these funds apart. And because they're on the Ethereum blockchain, we are getting ready to be flooded with all this. And because they're focusing on purchasing 100% in assets, cash and treasury bills, this means that because they're paired with USDC, this means that USDC will have to purchase trillions of dollars in US debts. And this means that the US government is getting ready to print trillions of dollars as well. Keep in mind, the last bull cycle, the US government only printed a fraction of what they're getting ready to print this cycle. Just based on this tokenization alone, based on this stablecoin regulations alone, they'll be printing so much more money that it will make the last bull cycle just look like a drop in the bucket. And this is extremely bullish for us. It's an extremely good news for us, because all this takes place on the Ethereum blockchain. This is massive, community. This is an amazing news. And on top of all of that, besides every boat, every rising tide will lift all boats. However, because we have strong fundamentals and strong tokenomics, we won't have to worry about the aftermath of every bull cycle. After every bull cycle comes a bear market, right? But because we were developed to be sustainable and long-term focused, we won't have to worry about all this tanking, because we'll have accumulated so much USDC for the stakers. Our traders will have such deep liquidity they can keep trading. Nobody has to run for the exit. This happens if you're lacking liquidity, because now people are fighting for the little liquidity there is left. And whoever is left holding their bags, there won't be enough liquidity for them. And this is why you see every token going right back to the same level where they started during the bull run. They literally drop 80 to 99% of the liquidity is gone, because they were not retaining it. It was not sustainable. So whatever was added during the bull run will be drained and removed again during the bear market. So they're going back to zero. And this is something that we are addressing. This is what we observed from the last cycle, and we say we won't repeat it. We'll do it differently this time. We'll develop a platform that is sustainable. that benefits the traders and the stakers, so that we won't have to have this musical chair game that everybody is trying to beat the other person out of their liquidity that is scarce, that is little. So this is it, community. The regulators are tightening up. It will be all about protecting your users. It will be all about keeping the funds, user funds, safe. It will be all about compliance. It will be all about education. And ironically, like my brother Thembi really highlighted also already in the chat, this is what we are all about. We're all about education. We're all about being compliant. We're all about liquidity. We're all about safety, security. These are our 4 pillars that we're all about. And we're all about a global decentralized community. So this is it for today, community. This is it for today. I want us to keep in mind that being in the business of liquidity is key. And this is what smart money does. And smart money has paired themselves with USDC. Why, if they're on the Ethereum blockchain, why didn't they pair with Ethereum, right? They're already on the Ethereum blockchain. Why pair with USDC? Who else is paired with USDC? It's BULLRUN. You're also paired with USDC. The reason why you do that is you avoid all these swings. You avoid all these swings. Yes, you won't run up with them like they are, but you also won't drain, go all the way back to zero, you know? So this is why it's very important to have an ecosystem with diverse different currencies and different strategies, so that in the long run, you create something that is sustainable. That's the key, and that is retaining liquidity, because this will be the regulations, and we had it here. Protect the users and keep the users' funds safe, and also ensure that whenever the holders wish to cash out their tokens, they should be able to cash out immediately and instantly, on demand. 99% of the cryptocurrencies, even the top 100, they can't do that. They can't, because they don't focus on, especially our community tokens here. They can't do that. They're not built for that. They're not built for that. So this is why we focus on liquidity, and this is why we are so ahead on compliance, on protecting our users, and on keeping the funds safe, and on compliance, and on education. So this is what's very important, community, and this is it for today. Let me come back to you, community, and check with you whether there are any feedbacks, anything that you want us to clarify or look at more closely. Bear with me as I'm bringing back my screen, and then we can close out like this. And as I'm talking, I see that BULLRUN, the tweets are out already. The BULLRUN, Killer Whale, and Survivor tweets are already out. Let's ensure that we interact with them as I'm coming back to you, community, and checking with the comments to see what you have here. We have my brother Thembi here as well. Greetings to our amazing devs and the awesome community. It's good to be back after a few days away, and what a way to start. I am here catching up, onwards we charge on. Welcome back, my great brother Thembi. Always a pleasure seeing you here as well. Thank you for also your commitment, your consistency, and leadership. You're very much appreciated, my brother. And welcome back. Nice to have you back. We missed you. What we have here, Queen Val says, hello, Bull Runners. Hello, Mr. Steve, and our dear Queen Mother Wino. Glad to be here and to hear from the best in the industry. Thank you very much for your kind words. We also appreciate you as well, Queen Val, for all your efforts that you put in, for your leadership, and for always having the Zooms open and educating the queens as well as the community itself. This is great for new members. feel free to join our Telegram groups. You can also research our websites. This is for BULLRUN. We have the same for Killer Whale and for Survivor as well. So feel free to participate in this. And like I said, the tweets are out already as well. We have the Killer Whale tweet is out. We have the Survivor tweet is out as well. And our BULLRUN tweet is also out. So feel free to engage with these as we progress. My brother Abdullah is also here. Welcome. Warm greetings to you all. Warm greetings back to you as well, my great brother Abdullah. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Brother Franklin is here as well. Greetings, my BRL family, and well done, my brother Steve. Thank you so much for also attending and being part of these sessions. You're all very, very much appreciated. We have Queen Grace here as well. She says, thank you so much, Steve, for the much knowledge, education, information, and empowerment you instill in us about blockchain technology. We are well equipped in this industry. Much love to Steve and Mom. Queen Grace, I want to take this opportunity as well to thank you as well for all your efforts that you put in, for your consistency, for your leadership within the ecosystem as well. You're very, very much appreciated. Very, very much appreciated. We see Queen Val here is animating us to really hit that like button. This will trigger the algorithm, of course, and this will also ensure that this news, this information reaches as many people as possible. And this is exactly what we need to do. Oh, my brother Mike. It's been a while, brother Mike. He says, good day, everyone. Lots of manipulation is going on now, Steve. Very interesting times. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, if you can't do it right, you have to manipulate, you know. And if you don't do it right from the very beginning, what else do you have left? You know, that's usually the only way somehow, unfortunately. And this catches up with someone anyway, you know. You see how you think you're smart, you're slick, trying to cut corners and try to manipulate things, but in the long run, it will catch up with somebody. You know, it might not be instantly, it might take some time, but eventually it will catch up. Queen Val says here, BRL to smart money, it all narrows down to liquidity. The real value of cryptocurrency is in the liquidity, not price. Absolutely, absolutely. If there's any takeaway out of this session today, it is that liquidity is key, liquidity reigns supreme, and liquidity is compliance. Any cryptocurrency that is not focusing on liquidity, that is not liquid, that doesn't enable their holders to exit whenever they feel like it and have enough liquidity to back the asset, you are not compliant, period. This is what BlackRock is all about. This is what smart money is all about. This is why full reserve banking systems are coming on the blockchain through Circle. This is why BlackRock has a liquidity fund. This is why ETFs are here, because they're providing liquidity that cryptocurrency doesn't provide. And this is why they fail to be money, digital money, strictly and simply because lack of liquidity. So when you see us stressing on liquidity, educating, emphasizing on liquidity, it's not just because it sounds cool, but because literally it is not just smart money, but it narrows down to liquidity, literally. And the real value of a cryptocurrency is not its price, but it's liquidity. Beautifully said, Queen Val. You're right on point. My great brother, my great Uncle George. Always a pleasure seeing you, Uncle George. And thank you so much for always being around and being part of the community. I see you all over social media, social platforms. Thank you for the links, the videos you sent, the information, encouraging the community. You're very much appreciated. Wonderful exposure we've received today. Thanks, Steve, for this. BULLRUN community, let's hold tight on our togetherness as it provides us with a bright investment future. Beautifully said, Uncle George. And this is a fact. We have something beautiful. We have something compliant. We have something sustainable. We have something unique. And we are part of this new digital economy, and it gives us a blank canvas where we are free to develop our own sustainable digital economy based on collateral and liquidity, compared to our current financial system that is based on debt and inflation. So we enable, we empower, we equip the community to have liquid collateral that if you so desire to stake it, you receive USDC distributions. Now you're empowered and you can use the compounding effect to your own benefit now. You don't get that in the real financial industry, in the real financial system. You get hit with debt, you get hit with inflation, and then your fiat currency is being devalued. Within the last 3 years, the Japanese yen lost its purchasing power at 65%. 65%. So every fiat currency eventually goes down to zero, little by little, because the more you print, the more you devalue your currency. And this is why the US is literally using this new technology to their advantage by putting in place regulations for stablecoin and for banks to be able to purchase US debt. So they're keeping everything in-house. And because it's so lucrative, it's a win-win for everyone, right? We saw how Tether makes 4.5 billion in 3 months. So imagine BlackRock has a liquidity fund, Circle has a liquidity fund. All these banks will be able to issue their stable coins. States in the US can issue stable coins, and they all will be able to purchase US debts and earn money on top of it and keep compounding the US debts. And this will enable the US to remain the dominant reserve currency and print as much money to cover the trillions of dollars in tokenized assets on the Ethereum blockchain. And this will enable us as an industry and as a community specifically, because we focus on retaining all this liquidity that will be flooded to us. We'll be able to be the most liquid community and ecosystem in the space just simply due to this. So this is great news for all of us. Well said, Uncle George. My brother Mike says most don't realize we are coming out of one of the most elongated bull markets ever. This correction was due. Absolutely. Of course. Like, it was way overdue. And people are panicking right now, like as if we're going to zero. But this is all smart money taking profits. These are individuals that got into the industry early on, like 2 years ago, when Bitcoin was like at 15,000. Now it's hitting above 60,000. They're just, skimming, taking some profits, and before it moves back up. And it won't really hit parabolic level until the interest rates get cut, of course. But they're dragging their feet until the stablecoin regulations are in place, so that these stablecoin regulations will require these issuers to purchase trillions in US debts, so that even if the US starts printing money, it won't affect them negatively. So this is a once in a lifetime opportunity we have. And this is the time where the US will literally print more money than they ever printed, even in comparison to the last bull cycle. So this stablecoin regulation is key, and it will be passed. It must be passed before the interest rates get cut, because now everything will be perfect. More debts will be purchased, US debt, and that will enable the Feds to print even more money. And that means more money will be flooding the markets compared to the last bull cycle that put away 24 million individuals in the US alone into retirement. So we have beautiful days coming ahead of us. So yes, Brother Mike, absolutely. This is one of the most amazing bull cycles ever. It will go into history, absolutely. Yes, this is the bull run tweet that is out as well, community. So we have the survivor, the killer whale, and the bull run as well. Feel free to interact with them. Let's put the word out as well. Queen Val says, family, let's all comment and like on the video after the live session. This puts us more on the spotlight. Let's put our takeaways and links. Absolutely. Beautifully said, Queen Val. And thank you for always highlighting these. Thank you also for putting out the tweets so that we can all interact with them without having to exit the live stream. And also thank you for putting the links for the Telegram groups as well. For the Killer Whale, we have Bull Run as well. We have Survivor as well. And those that are new in the community, please feel free to join these groups so that you can be part of this ecosystem as well. We have my brother Glenn here as well. Hello, Bull Run family. How is everyone? Hope all is well. Thank you, Steve, for another great session. Thank you as well, brother Glenn, for your leadership, your consistency as well, for your feedbacks. With that said, community, I want to thank you all for attending today. It's been a beautiful time, beautiful session again with all of us. It's always such a pleasure. I just wanted to highlight what's at store with for 2024 and beyond. And I also want to highlight that being on the Ethereum blockchain is really something that will benefit us tremendously, because we have an ecosystem that is literally developed strictly to retain as much liquidity as possible. And it's developed for the community, for the people, for the 99%. And it's developed to be fully decentralized, meaning that literally it's developed for the users to be their own banks, to be able to transact amongst ourselves without any institutions in between, without any requirements, qualifications, and all that. Everybody can participate in this global economy. And especially, we have control of our own assets because we're educating, equipping, enabling retailers to learn how to open their own wallets, digital wallets, DeFi wallet, and have access and control over their own assets. This is the future. You don't have to trust any institutions, any governments, but yourself. And you take on responsibility of your assets. And this is what this blockchain technology is all about, empowering us to do all of that. You don't have to ask for permission to have access of our own assets that we worked so hard for. This is what the blockchain technology is all about. With that said, community, thank you very much for participating today. It's been a beautiful time with you. And thank you for also engaging with the tweets. Thank you for everyone that made the tweets a success. And those that are engaging with the tweets as well, to put the word out. Again, let's not forget to like, comment, to bring this information out, put this information out so that it reaches as many people as possible. Also ensure that you engage with the tweets. They're all here as well. With that said, I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. Hopefully see you tomorrow latest in our next session, which will be on Saturday on our VC on Telegram. With that said, community, once more, thank you very much for participating, for being part of this session today. Thank you for your feedbacks, your comments. They are very valuable. They are very much appreciated. And I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Stay blessed, stay healthy, stay focused, stay motivated, and stay informed and educated. With that said, bye-bye, everyone. And let's keep in touch. Let's see you again latest tomorrow or by Saturday. Bye-bye, community, and see you soon again.